morning and welcome. Please remain standing for the posting of the colors by the combined honor guards from Mesa, Chandler, Gilbert, Glendale, Peoria, Surprise, and Gila River Fire Departments. Remain standing for the invocation by Brother member of the South Fire Department, and past member of the State Fire Training Committee. Brother Bingham.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this beautiful day, and we're thankful for many things that we enjoy. We're thankful for this country. We're thankful for those that's in harm's way, that's making events like this possible. Father, as we assemble here this day for the 34th annual Arizona State Fire School, we ask for thy blessings to be upon us. Bless all those that's attending, taking classes, that they may have open minds to accept the things from professionals that's instructing, that they may gain knowledge to take back to their individual communities. Father, we're thankful for the opportunity to be here, for so many that's asking for knowledge to better themselves. Father, as some will have on-hands training, we pray that a special blessing be upon them, but no harm or accident will befall any of us. We dedicate this school unto thee. We say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Good morning. Again, I'm Phil Mealy with the State Fire Marshal's Office, and I want to welcome you to the 34th Annual Arizona State Fire School. As a student of many Arizona fire schools since 1977, it's an honor to now play a role in continuing to bring quality professional education and training to the Arizona firefighters. The staff of the State Fire Marshal's Office and our agency, the Department of Fire and Building Life Safety, work each year in support of the activities of the State Fire Training Committee in planning and organizing the State Fire School. Although some of the training staff are missing due to the setting up of class for this afternoon, I ask that the lights come up and that everybody take the opportunity to recognize all the staff of the State Fire Marshal's Office for their work today. And they're over here on my right. Thank you very much. The learning and training opportunities at the State Fire School would not be possible without the support of fire departments from throughout Arizona who provide the training facilities and equipment and instructors so necessary to a successful school. I want to thank each of them for their past and continued support of the State Fire School. Your part in fire school begins this afternoon. Please make the most of this opportunity to learn and have a little fun along the way, and be safe. Thank you. Agree? Okay. We'll get it good here. Thank you. I didn't mean for you to stand while I speak, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, I'd like to now introduce Mr. Barb Barger, the retired Phoenix Fire Department Deputy Chief and past Arizona State Fire Marshal, who is now the Director of the Department of Fire, Building, and Life Safety. Bob?
You guys can remain seated for my speech. As always, it's just a pleasure to see everybody here. Take the opportunities to train and educate and put yourselves in positions to go out and provide the best possible service you can to your people in your communities. We talk about professional image, those kind of things in the fire service. We buy the equipment, we do all those kind of things to make your job as safe as possible. Anybody in any position of authority, fire chiefs, command officers, or anything else, have to realize that the professional image of the fire service comes from you all when you deliver the service. And opportunities like this for you to train and educate and raise your skill levels cannot be overlooked. So again, every year we offer this is the 34th annual. I actually used to be part of the live fire training process back in Phoenix years ago under Herb Hoy. And it was always a pleasure to have people come down and enhance their ability to provide that service. So again, I just want to welcome everybody. It's always a great event. Do be careful because I understand sometimes there are some parties going on and stuff like that. So we want you to be careful. We want you to take care of yourself, and then we want you to go back and take what you've learned to enhance that service delivery and take care of the people in your communities. Briefly, I just need one more presentation that I have real quick. I'd like for John Rollinson to come up. John just left us recently. He was the Arizona State Fire Marshal. He worked in the office for over 10 years and has many years of dedicated service in the fire service. And we miss John. He did a great job for us. If anybody's been connected with the fire code process, he was pretty much single-handedly in the process of getting Arizona from the 1988 UFC to the 2003 this century type code. So again, we appreciate that, John. One thing we never had for John when he was in the office was a badge that said Arizona State Fire Marshal. So now that he's gone, we're going to present him one that says Retired Arizona State Fire Marshal. You want to say anything? He doesn't want to say anything. He said this is the earliest he's been up since he's retired. He said the alarm clock went off at 6 o'clock this morning, and his wife says, "What are you doing?" He said he had to go to fire school. So again, thanks, John, for all your hard work and support of the office. So once again, take everything that you learn, pay attention in class. I know some of the classes get a little bit long, but pay attention, because it might be that instance that you go out next week and you go on that call to where this training and education is going to help you support your cause. Be safe. We always talk about the safety initiatives and all the issues that we have to relate to as we go out and provide service to our communities. Think safety all the time. As all of you are well aware of, we've had some pretty significant unfortunate incidents in the National Fire Service over the past few months. We don't want that to happen to us. You have to evaluate things, you have to look at it, look what the building's telling you, all those things that you learn in this process. And that's from the top to the bottom. All of us in the fire service have to look at what's going on. So don't get tunnel vision. We have a process with that. Open your eyes, look at the top, look at the bottom, look at the sides, and then take what you've learned and implement it at that time. So again, be safe and enjoy the school.
Back again. I'd like now to introduce the Chair of the State Fire Training Committee, Peoria Fire Department Training Chief Mark Nichols.
Thank you, Phil. Welcome, Arizona firefighters, to the 34th Annual State Fire School. Real quick, I'd like to recognize this honor guard. Aren't they awesome? Truly a reflection upon our fire service and the honor and tradition that it carries. The State Fire School, this is the 34th time that we've put this on, and the State Fire School doesn't just happen. It's a lot of work, and a lot of people put in a lot of effort, and it's a yearly process. Along with the Fire Marshal's office, we have the State Training Committee. There are members that have a passion for this and training, and so they come to provide this class. And at this point, I would like to recognize, if the lights could be turned up, our State Training Committee and recognize their effort for putting on the State Fire School. Please stand. You guys have got to stand. Ask them to stand, too. If you see somebody with a red lanyard on, they're here to help you. If you have questions, if you have issues or problems, please find one of us, and we're here to help you out. I would also like to recognize one member that's here. It's no longer on the State Training Committee, but was here in its inception. I think this is the first year that he's not been involved, but that is Jim Birch. If you would stand, please. A longtime member. With that, I'm done. We appreciate you being here. We hope this is something that's you find to be worth your while. Again, welcome.
Mark. As we move forward with this year's fire school, it's become a tradition at the school that we recognize those who have gone before us and have now passed. And so with that, I'd like to now ask that everyone please be sure out of respect that their cell phones are off or on silent as we do the memorial service for this year's State Fire School.
Once again, it is with pride and honor that the Mesa Fire Department conduct this memorial service. We honor today those individuals who have given their careers and their lives in the service of the state of Arizona in the fire service. Please join us now as we remember those we have lost this year.
Herb Hoy, State Fire Marshal's Office, Director of Training, retired.
Louis Albert Heinley, Casa Grande Fire Department.
Chief Randy Schreier, Davis-Monthan Air Force Base.
Frank Garcia, Douglas Fire Department.
Corey Lawton, Gila River Fire Department.
Chief Don Heatwool, Glendale Fire Department.
Dennis Murphy, Golder Ranch Fire District.
Don Danielson, Lake Havasu City Fire Department.
Dave Broomfield, Pinewood Fire District.
Jameson Yazzie, Puerco Valley Fire District.
Cody Baca, Snowflake Fire Department.
Daryl D. Ricky Thomas, Somerton, Cocopah Fire Department.
Bob Howard, Sun Sites Pierce Fire District.
Barry Wharton, Tempe Fire Department.
Frank J. Langley Jr., Thatcher Fire Department.
Kenneth Beadle, Tri-City Fire District.
John Bradley, Tri-City Fire District.
Clarence W. Bill Parks, U.S. Forest Service.
Detail. Pre-zip. Arms. Order. Arms.
ask that everyone please recognize and a round of applause for the honor guard. As several people have said, this is the 34th Annual State Fire School. And as we go forward, one of the things that we must remember, and we've just done that with the service, is those who have come before and have made possible what we enjoy today. I'm going to ask that, I'm going to introduce Bob Costello, Assistant Chief and former Fire Training Director, with Buckeye Fire Department, to take a few minutes and talk about someone we lost this year, Herb Hoy. Bob?
Good morning. It's kind of interesting as I look around. Those that knew Herb, if they have hair now, it's gray. It's been several years. This morning I'm honored to give you a little bit of background on Herb Hoy, a gentleman that was really instrumental in making Arizona's fire service training program much better than it was. Herbert Harold Hoy, known as Herb, 81, died Sunday, August 28, 2007, Longview, Washington. Herb died of natural causes after a lengthy illness. Herb was born December 12, 1925, St. Louis, Missouri, to Herbert and Vera Olson Hoy. Left there, went to Bozeman, Montana with his family in 1938. Herb graduated high school at Gatlin Valley High School in 43, listed in the Army in World War II, returned to Bozeman, where he resided for the majority of his life. Herb spent 25 years in the Bozeman Fire Department, working his way from volunteer firefighter to chief. In 1975, he retired from Bozeman. It's interesting, when I got the word of Herb's passing, I got on the internet, a wonderful tool, and tried to find out a little bit more about Herb, what had happened and stuff. The information was a little sketchy. I ran across an article that was printed in a paper in Montana in it was August 18th, 1959. And the article referenced Herb as a volunteer that led a group of rescuers into the Yellowstone area for a large earthquake. It's kind of news to me. I didn't know there was one up there, so it was interesting. As the slides pass by us here, those of you that have been around a little bit will recognize a much younger Paul Saunders, Paul Saunders, second state fire marshal, and there's a couple pictures of a younger Alan Brunacini up there also. Herb was always there to lend a hand to anybody who needed one. He was just a generous, giving person. He'd strike up a conversation with whomever, sometimes even if they didn't want to talk to him. He never met a stranger, just a likable guy. 1975, Herb and his wife is just a sweetheart kitty, moved to Mesa, Arizona. At that point, Herb ended up going to work for Paul Saunders. Paul was the fire marshal, Herb was the training director, and he stayed in that position until 1993. Over the years, Herb and Kitty would travel several times in Washington to visit their daughter. They later moved there with her. For those of you that knew Herb, he had a gift of gab. We no longer have to put up the parental warnings for the opening ceremony since Herb was retired. Colorful vocabulary didn't describe it. He always made you laugh. You never knew exactly what he was going to say. Herb was survived by his loving wife of 60 years, Kitty, who now resides in Longview, Washington, two daughters, Linda and Tracy, and a son, Michael, who followed his father into the fire service and retired to Mexico several years back. In addition to that, he's survived by 4 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. Now, what did Herb do for Arizona? When Herb came to Arizona, firefighter certification training didn't exist. Herb was instrumental in putting that program into place. And now it's become just part of our routine. If you're not firefighter 1 and 2, you're working on it to get there. It's now the standard. Herb was instrumental in that. Herb, with several other dedicated folks, were instrumental in forming the Arizona Fire Training Association, a group to support training and trainers to further that. Herb worked with the National Fire Academy to bring area outreach programs here so that we could expand our knowledge base and grow with that. In addition to that, he actively pursued the area workshops. In other words, took training into small communities all over Arizona, again, so people could grow and prosper. It's interesting, when you travel with Herb, all of a sudden he pulls into a gas station. Why are we here? Well, this is where Chief such and such works. And then we're going to a restaurant where somebody else worked. It seems like he knew everybody. As you can see from some of the photos, Herb was a fashion icon. The purple polyester pants and the real short shorts were his attire most of the time. Those who remember Herb knew he was a golfer. For years, Herb would tell me he golfed in the 80s. I always thought that was his golf score, but that was the temperature threshold that he would play in. I had the opportunity, I taught here for a lot of years, and in the extrication class, we'd leave really early in the morning when we did the hands-on. And we were in another venue at that time, and it was probably 5 in the morning. We walk into the courtyard, and here's Herb and poor Kitty, who looks like she's been drug out of bed. Herb, why are you here at 5? Oh, I got this, growling at you. So I asked Kitty, I says, Kitty, how come he's up so early and doing this? She goes, well, Bob, he's afraid he's gonna miss something. A tough week for lots of us. He's a good man, he'll be missed. I'll use Kitty's favorite quote when Herb would say something, and you knew it was bad. It was, oh, Herb. Herb, we love you, we miss you. Take care.
Thanks, Bob. Each year, the State Fire Training Committee accepts nominations from around the state for membership in the Arizona Fire Hall of Fame. The chair of the nomination committee and Prescott Division Chief Tim McElway will now introduce this year's inductees. Tim?
Good morning. It's my honor to introduce our 2 newest inductees into the Arizona Fire Service Hall of Fame. In 1998, the Hall of Fame was put together to honor those people in the fire service that have a significant impact in the fire service and the community. Their nominations are based on years of service, services to their communities, state and national impacts in the fire service, educational impacts, operational impacts, contributions to the community, and impact on state laws dealing with the fire safety. Today, it's my honor to introduce the 2 individuals that we're inducting into the Hall of Fame today. The first individual, and I'll bring them up individually, 27 years with the Tucson Fire Department. And if I read their nomination forms, we'd be here all day, so I'll just pick out some highlights. This individual serves on numerous committees. Appointed to the National Fire Prevention Development Committee, Western Fire Chiefs Representative, Arizona State Fire Training Committee, Safety Committee, Arizona Wildland Urban Interface Code Review Committee. On a state and national impact, he's known throughout the state as an advocate for fire prevention, leader in code development and safety and education. Serves on the International Fire Code Institute, or with the Institute Advisory Committee, Task Force for Healthcare, Fire Safety, past president of the Arizona Fire Marshals Association. He's developed current Tucson Fire Department's Fire Inspector Certification Program, developed curriculum for the State Fire Inspector 2 course, and is working with the State Fire Marshal's Office currently on the Inspector 2 certification. He's an adjunct instructor with the Pima Community College since 1988, and over the last 28 years have taught classes for the National Fire Academy, Fire Marshal's Office, Division of Emergency Management, Pima Community College, Tucson Fire Department, and numerous others. At this time, I'd like to introduce our first recipient, Dan Youthy of the Tucson Fire Department.
I have to? You have to. Good morning. You know, it is a great honor to be included in this organization that includes members that are leaders in the Arizona Fire Service. Over the years, I've attended many of these ceremonies and listened to the members being inducted. I never thought I'd be up here making this speech. I have to thank a lot of people, but first I want to thank my parents for instilling in me a work ethic and raising me to have a passion for work in public service. After college, I knew I wanted to be in public service, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. But as Yogi Berra, the Hall of Fame baseball player, not Boo Boo's friend, said, when you arrive at a fork in the road, take it. When fortunate enough to take the right road. 28 years ago, I joined the Tucson Fire Department. I know they got a great job, but a career, and I became a part of the family of firefighters. You know, fire business is not new to my family. My uncle retired from Tucson Fire and later became the South Dakota State Fire Marshal. My old brother retired from Tucson Fire after 33 years. He was a captain in suppression and showed people how to put out fires. I took a different route, became a fire marshal, and I tried to show people how to prevent fires. My younger brother took still a different route. He's a general manager of Barbecues Galore. He shows people how to start fires. But for us, it's good for business. As I said, you know, the fire service is a great career. I don't think of any other job that would provide me with both the fulfilling aspects of public service and the opportunities to improve myself. Additionally, it gave me another family, a family filled with people that care about you and will do anything they can to help you. With that said, I have to thank a couple more people. Our Assistant City Manager, Liz Miller, for her guidance and assisting me with the political issues. As we all know, there are some of those out there. And I especially want to thank our Fire Chief, Dan Newbern, for his leadership, support, and encouragement over the years. And I have to thank all the men and women in the Fire Prevention Division that have made me look good, which is a big job. They have allowed me to be active in state and national organizations by taking care of business while I was away. Hopefully you all have the similar support that I have received. For a successful career, you have to have that support. But you also have to have a desire to improve yourself. And I'd say for most of you here for the fire school, you have that desire. Additionally, you must have a passion for what you're doing, because without a passion for what you're doing, you just have a job. If I can leave you with anything, it would be that you need to have a vision of what you want to do and where you're going. And you need to set goals and develop a roadmap to reach those goals. Because as Yogi Berra said, well, can you tell I'm a Yankee fan? Yogi Berra said, you got to be careful if you don't know where you're going, because you might not get there. Thank you again for this honor. I'm truly blessed to receive this award and be recognized for things I love to do. Thank you.
Our next recipient this year's award has 51 years in service. Been with the Casa Grande Fire Department in 1956 to 1980, La Grande, Oregon Fire Department 1980 to 1985, and the Ak-Chin Fire Department from 1985 till present. He served as past president of the Arizona Fire Chiefs Association from 1976 to 1977. Served as National Native American EMS Association Board of Directors since the foundation in 1989. National Native American EMS Association President for the past 10 years. He's assisted with the development of the Native American Fire Chiefs Association, the Ak-Chin Career Development Program for the fire department. Has assisted with several small tribal fire departments with policy and organizational guidelines. Formed the Ak-Chin Fire Department in 1985. They now provide ALS, medical, swiftwater, high angle, plus all normal fire service activities, and also provide medical transport. With that, I'd like to introduce our next recipient, Bill White.
Thank you. This is a great pleasure to me. 2 years ago, when I received the Lifetime Achievement Award, I thought, and nothing better than this can happen, and it did. I've got a lot of people I want to thank. Retired Chief Nate Coxon, who hired me on as the first full-time fireman in Casa Grande back in 1958. The salary was great, $335 a month. The people say, when you started, what kind of protective equipment did you have? And I said, what was that? Well, when we started, we didn't have very much protective equipment of any kind. I started in 1958. A lot of the people that I worked with when I first started are gone. I stand here looking at Mike Casson, and I remember going to a fire chiefs conference with his dad, so everyone knows how old that will make me. I had a great opportunity in 1985 to move to Ak-Chin and start a fire department there. I think that everyone would like to walk into a new building, no equipment, no personnel, except a part-time secretary at that time, working 2 days a week. And we built the department up. And a special thanks goes to my assistant for the past 21 years. And I gotta make sure I get the name right. Connie Carlin Boys. Connie, thank you for all your help and support. I would like to thank all of the members of the Ak-Chin Fire Department that came here today to watch me get this award. I really thank you for that. I'd also like to thank my two boys, John and Jerry, who are here, and Becky, thank you all for coming. Also, I would like to thank the one person who was beside me for over 51 years. I can't do that in person, but I hope that she realizes the sacrifices that she made and my family made so I could devote my time to the fire department. And for all of you who made this possible, I want to thank each and every one of you. So thank you. This is the greatest honor that I'll ever receive in my lifetime. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim. I'd like now to introduce Chris Murphy, President of the Volunteer Firefighters of Arizona, to present the inaugural Volunteer Firefighter of the Year Award. Chris?
Thanks, Phil. Hello and good morning to everyone. My name is Chris Murphy. As Phil said, most of you don't know me, some of you do. I'm the president of the Volunteer Firefighters of Arizona. VFFA is our acronym. As we well know in the fire service, there's way too many, but that's another one. I'm a member of the Safford Fire Department as well. I stand before you today humbled as the presenter of the first and hopefully many annual Arizona Volunteer Firefighter of the Year Awards. I'd like to start by recognizing a few individuals that have helped me in bringing this program to fruition. There are three primary sponsors of this award. First is, of course, the Volunteer Firefighters of Arizona. And second, Frontier Emergency Products. And with us today is owner Mike Heston. And the third primary sponsor of this award is the Volunteer Firemen's Insurance Services, Inc., and representing them is John Hayes. And I tried to get Bob Weber to come up here so I wouldn't be the shortest one on the stage, but that didn't work. So we had three bronze award sponsors. They are Sequoia Management Associates, Bob Weber, Rhodes Enterprises, Mike Rhodes, and the City of Safford Fire Department. I would also like to recognize the following individuals for their valiant efforts in making this project happen. Of course, Bob Weber of Frontier Emergency Products, who I'm sure most of you know quite well. Dick Bingham, formerly member of the State Fire Training Committee and former chief of the Safford Fire Department. Mike Rhodes, current chief of the Safford Fire Department. And B.K. Merriman, who is a new member of the State Fire Training Committee, and he's the VFFA representative to that committee. Please join me in a round of applause for these individuals. The National Volunteer Fire Council estimates that around 80% of the nation's firefighters are volunteers. I've had estimates that usually around 75 to 80% of the individuals that attend this school are volunteers. And based on my experience being a volunteer firefighter and those around me, I believe that volunteer firefighters are at the heart and soul of the fire service. The sponsors of this award feel that volunteers need to be recognized more often for their efforts. Generally, volunteer firefighters are reluctant to toot their own horn, so we're here to toot it for them. The individual being recognized today has been with the Buckeye Valley Volunteer Fire District for approximately 21 years. He moved to the area and immediately got involved in the Volunteer Fire District station in his neighborhood. Throughout his tenure, his dedication has never faltered. He can always be depended on to respond. He has been an advocate of training, even back in the days when there was little required for volunteers. He has always gone to great measures to keep his station and community progressing. He started many programs within his area before the fire district had adopted them, such as public education, Learn Not to Burn, in the schools and churches within his response area. He started a reading program where the firefighters go to the schools and read with the children. On his own, he has acquired donations of materials and manpower to improve his station, including flagpoles, carpentry, ice machines, and a fully enclosed helipad. He lives in a very rural area with a lot of youth activities. He coordinates several activities at his station, including Halloween carnivals and Christmas parties and hay rides. He, on his own time, checks on patients that have been responded to after they return home to see how they are doing and if the department can be of any further help. He was so respected in the area that when problems arise, the police in that area seek his assistance because of his well-known presence and ability to help out in any situation. He is the best public image tool any department could ask for his 20-plus years of outstanding community service and his work to give the fire EMS service an outstanding image in the community, the 2007 Arizona Volunteer Firefighter of the Year Award is presented to Jim Adams of the Buckeye Valley Volunteer Fire District. If we could get Jim to come up here, there he is. I was told he didn't know he was going to get this award today. And is that true? All right. And his chief, Scott Bembo, actually, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm going to find out right now, said that the way he got him here was so that he told him the only way he could get here was to drive in the HOV lane. Is that true? All right. That's how he got him here. So Jim, on behalf of the Volunteer Firefighters of Arizona, Frontier Emergency Products, and Volunteer Firemen's Insurance Services, Inc., and our other sponsors, I present you with this check for $3,300. Also, your fire department will be receiving 2 Irvin Talley Fire School scholarships to next year's Arizona State Fire School.
Thank you, everybody, and believe me, it's truly a labor of love.
Chief Mike Rhodes, everyone. No, I was, all right.
I think as we go through these recognitions, it just shows just how broad sweeping the fire service is and how many hooks there are for everyone to become involved and dedicate their lives. Our next recognition is for Fire Investigator of the Year by the International Association of Arson Investigators. To present this year's award is President of the Arizona Chapter of the IAAI, Ted Capagianolo. Ted?
I need to change my name to Smith, but that was a good try. First, on behalf of the Arizona chapter of the International Association of Arson Investigators, I want to thank the State Fire Training Committee and the State Fire Marshal's Office and all of you for letting us be part of the ceremony. The International Association of Arson Investigators has chapters in every state and chapters throughout the world. The Arizona chapter has about 500 members, and it's composed of fire investigators from city and county fire departments, from private fire investigations agencies. We have fraud investigators from some of the insurance companies, and also criminal prosecutors who prosecute those who commit arson. The Arizona chapter of the IAAI is proud to award the 2007 Investigator of the Year Award to an individual who has truly dedicated his life to the fire service and the victims of fire. The recipient started his fire service career almost 40 years ago as a member of the New York Fire Department. During his time with the New York Fire Department, as part of the operations section, he responded to over 15,000 alarms and had direct participation in over 4,000 acts of rescue and containment. He received 2 certificates of merit for his performance and life-saving. In August of 1993, The recipient was promoted to the rank of Fire Marshal for the New York Fire Department. Along with that appointment, he was selected and transferred into the citywide Special Investigations Unit in the Bureau of Fire Investigations, an elite section of the Bureau of Fire Investigations responsible for the most complex and notorious fire investigations. In this position, he was trained as a peace officer, specialized protection security, and all aspects of fire investigation. The recipient attended classes sponsored and taught by the ATF and other federal agencies. While assigned as a fire marshal in New York, the recipient investigated approximately 120 fires per year, with a total of over 800 fire investigations under his belt. In November of 2000, he retired from the New York Fire Department and moved to Arizona. He began working with EFI Incorporated as a fire investigator. Working for the private field, the recipient learned how to interact with the insurance companies and all the private parties who have an interest in the investigation of fires. When the tragedy of September 11th occurred, the recipient took leave from EFI and returned to New York to volunteer in the rescue and recovery effort. He was devastated by the loss of many of his old co-workers and close friends. After spending several weeks assisting in the effort, he returned to Arizona. After working successfully for EFI and building an excellent reputation with the insurance companies and all the people who hire private fire investigators, the recipient ventured out on his own. In September 2005, he opened his own fire investigations company. In this role, he has become respected by his peers, his clients, and by all who know him. He is never one to shy away from a task. He will work alongside anyone and everyone and will not ask someone to do something that he wouldn't do. Since the start of his own business, he has investigated over 350 fire investigations. The recipient was nominated by several individuals for all of these personal attributes, but also for his stellar work at 2 recent fire investigations. Big or small losses, friendly or rude persons, the recipient gives every investigation his all. This is exemplified by the following recent investigations. On a recent fire in the southern portion of Maricopa County, the recipient was assigned to a house fire that caused the loss of over $2 million. At the fire scene, there was a reasonable disagreement between the recipient and other investigators that had been called to determine the cause of the fire. There appeared to be an area of origin, and there were some conflicts in the stories from the homeowners. The recipient assisted by using his contacts to get translators paid for by the insurance company. The recipient worked closely with all of the public investigators there and shared his knowledge and experience in dealing with large fires. Thanks to the recipient's involvement and expertise, all the investigators there came to the conclusion that the fire was accidental and not incendiary. As part of the case, an entire 8 by 10-foot section of the wall was taken as evidence. Because of the recipient's training and experience in dealing with large-scale fire scenes and large pieces of evidence, he was able to share his knowledge about the securing, transporting, and storing of such a large piece of evidence. The fact that the recipient is willing to share his knowledge and expertise with other fire investigators, often on non-billed time, is what sets this investigator apart. During another fire investigation in the northern reaches of Maricopa County, the recipient again found himself working with several public agencies working on a devastating fire. The recipient melded into the investigation at the public agency's request and was there alongside as a regular public employee. The recipient was allowed to photograph and interview and assist in the dig to discover the truth. After many long hours of interviewing, the recipient realized that the fire was not only arson, but that it had been started by the homeowner. The recipient shared his analysis and notes with the public investigators to allow the investigation to proceed more rapidly. It was due to the inconsistencies in the stories told to both the public and private sides, as well as the information discovered by the recipient, that the case was able to be prosecuted. In addition to all of his work in fire investigations, the recipient also finds time for a full life. He has run more than a dozen marathons, scuba dived on more than 100 wrecks, photographed weddings and parties, made wooden furniture, decks, and other skilled items out of wood, played softball, golf, led a ski school, taught college internet courses, rode his Harley, and most importantly, is married to the woman of his dreams for over 30 years and has raised a successful son and daughter. It is my proud honor, as the president of the Arizona chapter of the International Association of Arson Investigators, and on behalf of the almost 500 investigators and members of the chapter throughout this state, to present the IAAI Fire Investigator of the Year for the state of Arizona to Robert Laubacher of W.L. Roberts Fire Investigations, a truly deserving individual. Besides that beautiful plaque, we also want to thank United Fire for the gifts that they have provided for this award. And also we want to thank the Enchantment Resort in Sedona, who has provided Bob and his wife with a two-night stay at their resort in Sedona. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. I'm much more comfortable in a fire scene getting dirty than I am standing here, that's for sure. In your speech about my accomplishments, I think you left out two things. One would be my 2 years spent as the Starship Enterprise captain, and my Home and Garden Award for needlepoint when I was getting into touch with my feminine side. I consider myself blessed. I've worked in the fire service for over 35 years, and I've truly enjoyed every single minute of it. I can't imagine what else I would do for a living. I can't imagine what it would be like to get up to go to a job that you didn't love. This is a passion. It's something that I think everyone in this room shares with myself, a passion for firefighting and the community. If you think about it, who would get up and fight a fire in this 5,000-degree Arizona heat if you weren't passionate about it? I forgot, it's dry heat here. I've worked for the New York City, private industry, and myself. I gotta be honest, I like working for myself the best of all three. I don't fight with myself too often, once in a while. I must acknowledge that through my career, I have been mentored and taught by numerous persons that I really owe a lot to. During my career, people take you under your wing and they teach you, and hopefully you'll learn the lessons that they have to offer you. Let me take you down two quick things that happened during my career. In 1973, when I first was assigned to Engine 1 in Manhattan, we were responding to a fire. It was my first fire. I was excited, ready to go. The fire truck at that time, we rode the back step. Not like today, we're safety conscious, probably a good thing, but we rode the back step back then. Took a ride, got on the truck, drove down Fifth Avenue, turned down the street, the vehicle stopped, I jumped off, ready to go to work. About 2 seconds later, I'm watching the two guys on the back step, they're looking at me. I said, what's going on? Let's go. Fire truck drives away. Traffic. What did I know? I had a little bit to learn. They taught me. I had a successful 20-some-odd year career in the firehouse. Went to my first fire investigation, 1993. I was assigned to a senior investigator, took me under his wing, and he was going to take me and teach me. Went to a car fire, did the investigation. He's going through the whole car, explaining everything he's doing, trying to make it clear so I understand, and I'm watching and I'm saying, yeah, it looks good to me, you're right, I understand. He concludes the investigation and he says, It's obviously an electrical short in the dashboard. Okay, sounds good to me. Let's go. We go back to the firehouse for the firehouse for the fire truck that actually responded to the vehicle fire. We're sitting there having coffee, and a couple of the guys are saying to us, by the way, did you guys collect those sponges that were soaked with gasoline on all 4 tires? No, I don't think we did that, so I learned a lesson then. We had a lot to learn over the years. Hopefully I've learned it, and now I find myself in a position where I'd like to teach it to others. I believe in sharing information. It brings us all up together. You have a unique opportunity here to have hundreds of years of experience teaching you. I suggest you listen, learn, and use those lessons. I'd like to thank all the fire department personnel I've met in the state of Arizona, whom I've worked with, and a lot of I've become good friends with. Without their help, my job would be very difficult, if not impossible. I'd like to thank you for accepting this New York transplant into your Arizona fire community. It is a huge club, and it is nationwide, worldwide. It is the greatest club in the world to belong to. We're all brothers and sisters, and we all help each other all the time. I also would like to thank my wife for putting up with me for 31 years. We just recently celebrated our anniversary about a week ago. She also currently edits my reports to help me sound halfway intelligent when they're read. And if I didn't thank her for something, I'd be dead when I left here. So I'd like to thank you so much for this award. Thank you very much.
Well, I know we're all here to learn, and I guess after that last introduction, what I learned is from now on, I'm introducing everybody by first name only. I'm not going to go there. Through the support of the United Fire each year, the Arizona recognizes the important contribution of a member of the Arizona Fire Service by naming them Firefighter of the Year. To introduce this year's recipient is Mr. Daniel Matlick, President of United Fire. Daniel.
The heart of a hero stands the test of time. Doesn't matter which era we look at, we have always chosen heroes. People who we admire, respect, and emulate. Why? What makes a hero? Are there qualities that heroes have in common? Let's start by looking at a few heroes throughout this century. The Wright brothers' determination to fly is a marvelous example of bravery. Quietly confident, Orville and Wilbur continue to test and design flying machines, ignoring outside comments about their sanity. Through numerous crashes, injuries, and failed attempts, they fulfilled their dream that man can fly. Brave soul, tender heart. Mount Everest is the highest peak in the world at approximately 29,000 feet high. In 1953, a team of adventurers worked slowly up the mountain. At 25,000 feet, they made a base camp. 2 team members attempted to reach the summit, but were not able to make it because their oxygen tank broke. The next attempt was made by Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. After removing their boots that had frozen into the ice the night before, these 2 humble men forged a new path to the summit by climbing a sheer ice cliff. Hillary left a small cross he carried, and Tenzing, being a Sherpa, left an offering of chocolate to the gods he believed lived on the mountain. What makes these people heroes is their obvious bravery in facing the elements of the weather. But there is more we admire. We admire their humbleness and their spirit. Brave soul, tender heart. Let's look at another hero, a more modern one, Pat Tillman. Here was a man that gave up everything for something he believed in, a love for his country. An American football star, he turned down a $3.6 million contract to enlist in the U.S. Army. His natural leadership skills led him to the war front. Although there is controversy surrounding his death, it is not his death that made him a hero. It is his life. Senator John McCain said, "Pat's best service to his country was to remind us all what courage really looks like, and that the purpose of all courage is love. Brave souls, tender hearts." So who is your hero? Who do your kids admire? Do they share the same qualities? I know my heroes, and I believe few would dispute that the American firefighter is at the top of any list. They share the exact same qualities as Pat Tillman and Edmund Hillary: bravery and courage beyond compare. But there is more. They share compassion, a spirit and a tenderness that makes them real and gives them heart. True heroes stand the test of time. Firefighters are always brave and yet tender. That's why whether we talk about the new millennium or the 1880s, the same qualities ring true for firefighters: brave souls, tender hearts. This year's campaign brought nominations for both heroic achievement and contributions through life safety and education. Each year, we are amazed at the quality of the nominations, not only for their bravery, but for their tenderness they show the community and their humble attitudes at being recognized. To our winners, it is a job that they do well, and they need little reward beyond that. These brave and yet tender people that become heroes are who United Fire has been honored to recognize since 1994. We don't do it alone. With the effort of the Arizona business community and our many sponsors, we can take a few moments each year to reflect on who we believe represents the true spirit of the fire service and show our gratitude. We also ask a team of judges to help choose the winner. We rewrite all nominations so there is no reference to department, location, gender, or professional status. Our judges are Pat Becker, Mark Rivera, Marilyn Price, Gary West, and Rudy Barboa. This year, the judges look for service professionals that combine the two traits of a hero: a brave soul and a tender heart. Their choice is someone that has dedicated over 3 decades to the fire service. He has volunteered countless hours for the children in our community. The 2007 United Firefighter of the Year is Dave Acero, a member of both the Phoenix and Goodyear Fire Department. Dave has been a firefighter with the Phoenix Fire Department for 33 years. For the last 21 years, he has been working at Station 39 as a highly respected engineer. Dave volunteered for 7 years at Camp Courage, and in 1999 was selected as Counselor of the Year. Dave's public education achievements have been numerous, and in 2000, he was named Firefighter of the Year by the Professional Firefighters. During his tenure with Phoenix, the basic Learn Not to Burn program was enhanced in cooperation with teachers and firefighters to now include 39 different modules to provide a realistic and comprehensive program to help students prepare for urban survival. By rallying together support from Goodyear and Phoenix locals, as well as community-minded businesses such as Kmart and PMT Ambulance, Dave has also been able to provide annual holiday parties at his fire station for disadvantaged families, which also illustrates to kids the true meaning of Christmas giving. He really does have a tender heart. 15 years ago, Dave started sharing the program he learned at Phoenix by volunteering with departments that had fewer resources. Dave became instrumental in helping Goodyear to develop their own excellent urban survival program. The program includes requirements for kids to take on more responsibility and to educate their parents about things like smoke detectors, fire evacuation plans, seatbelts, helmets, gun safety, and pool safety. Dave develops age-appropriate lessons and includes anything that will keep the students' attention on his message, including a Dalmatian puppet named Smokey Hackenkoff, if I got that right, magic tricks, music, and getting the teachers to dance, which always makes the kids laugh. Today, he is known as Fire Pal Dave to many Goodyear school kids. He is working with 7 schools in Goodyear in addition to 7 different Head Start preschools. But Dave's efforts don't end there. He reaches out to other fire departments as well and is currently partnering with the Avondale Fire Department to train additional instructors in community risk reduction. Fire Pal Dave tends to focus on the more needy schools and resides in some rough neighborhoods. He strives to get these kids recognized for doing the right thing and building community support. When students use the information he teaches them, he looks for ways to reward them. He recognized students with awards for saving family members from drowning, helping with car accident victims, and reporting guns seen in their schools. Dave is not only a hero in our eyes, but his passion is enabling hundreds of Arizona school children to be heroes in their own communities. Dave is retiring in 7 months from Phoenix Fire, but his influence on Arizona kids, their families, and the many professionals he works with will continue. Dave's work in safety, fire prevention, and public education is an area that often goes unrecognized when we talk about firefighters. Too often, we look at the single heroic act that defines a hero for us. But today, I hope that each of you has a new definition for that term, hero. Today, we recognize that it takes more than a brave soul. It also takes someone like Dave Acero and a tender heart. We know that true heroes ask for a little reward. Heroes in Hollywood enjoy those benefits. This year, on behalf of our many community sponsors, we have heroic rewards for you. John Wayne never seemed to get his clothes dirty, ripped, or wrinkled, even when duking it out with the bad guy. He always looked good. We can't guarantee that you won't get dirty, but we are confident you will look fantastic decked out in gear from Lion Apparel, Carnes Helmets, Ringer Gloves, Fire Rappel, and El Becco. And since we know that the work firefighters often goes unrecognized, they have also included a high visibility windbreaker. Hollywood heroes like Indiana Jones are on their feet for 2 to 2.5 hours straight in action-packed movies. Of course, a firefighter that pulls a 24-hour shift or spends 8 hours in an elementary school classroom isn't very sympathetic. Still, you may need some extra foot support, so Hakes North America and Lacrosse Footwear have donated boots. And we can't give you a movie contract, but we can let you live like a celebrity with a weekend at Phoenix Squaw Peak Resort. And sports heroes have a special place in our hearts, especially those like Rocky, who rise up and succeed through pure determination. You can pretend to be Tiger Woods while playing 18 holes at the Marriott Star Pass Resort, and you can dream of winning a race at the next NASCAR race event at PIR. If you prefer to just be a sports fan, we have an autographed football from the Arizona Cardinals, a basketball from the Phoenix Suns, and a free pizza a month for a year from Pizza Hut. And that's sure to make any kid take notice of Fire Pal Dave. We know that all heroes have team players making them look good, so we're giving your department $500 worth of equipment from United Fire, and you're getting $1,000 so you can purchase whatever we may have missed. Finally, to reward your tender heart and to remind you of all the hearts in Arizona that you have influenced, we present you with the movie Heart of Arizona and a little friend for your puppet Smokey. To award your brave soul, we are giving you a certificate from Parachutes Over Phoenix. Your leap of faith and support of the Urban Survival Program has been a huge impact on Arizona kids. Dave, congratulations on being selected the 2007 Firefighter of the Year.
As a firefighter, we see a lot of tragedies out there, so we try to prevent harm. So I figured a few years back that just responding to emergencies wasn't enough. So I got into the education part of it. I'd like to thank Linda Kirby in Phoenix. She had educated me how to talk to kids and about the program. And I'd like to thank Chief Gaylord in Goodyear, Mike Ullman, for allowing me to be part of their department part-time. And all the firefighters out there that supported the programs to make kids safe. So, you know, our job is to prevent harm, and this is another way to do it. Thank you very much.
Isn't it interesting that those heroes that you admired when you were 12 are completely different than the ones you admire today? Time has a way of changing our perspective, but it hasn't changed my perspective on the Arizona Fire Service. The people we honor each year with this award are amazing individuals that prove that being a hero just isn't about bravery. It's also about having heart. And when you combine the two traits, you get something extraordinary. A hero. At United Fire, our support for the Arizona Fire Service has been strong for almost 40 years. Our commitment continues, and our hearts always remind us that life safety is serious work. Please be safe. Thank you. Gentlemen, and congratulations to the Goodyear Fire Department and to the Acero family. Tradition of fire service. Dave, how long have you been in the fire service?
Almost 33 years.
33 years?
Yes.
And in your current position?
I'm an engineer. I just moved to Engine 57.
I see that firefighting has become a family tradition. How long have you been in the fire service?
12 years.
12 years. Yeah. And are you also with Phoenix Fire?
Phoenix Fire, I'm an engineer at Station 23.
What station? Oh, Station 23.
Uh-huh.
So, obviously, well, not so obviously, but I noticed that you are an engineer as well.
Yes.
Did you always want to follow in your father's footsteps?
Most definitely. I dreamed of driving even before I became a firefighter. So.
What do you think about your dad getting this award?
That is it's totally awesome. It's much deserving. Tireless work he's put into it.
I hear from his captain that once he retires, that he might be coming after you to recruit you in, fill the shoes.
Those are some big shoes to fill. We'll see.
Have you had any considerations of doing public education?
Yes, I've considered it. I've helped him sometimes, and I got a lot of work ahead of me, though. So.
Dave, what do you think about your son following in your footsteps?
I'm very proud of him. Very proud of him.
And what are you going to do now that you retire? Once you retire?
Well, pretty much the same thing. I'm still going to stay in the schools and try to make kids safe.
And do the public education, keep
Yes.
doing it. We really appreciate all you've done for our community, and we know that the programs that you've put together will last for decades, and the number of lives that will be saved are countless. Congratulations on this award.
Thank you. Thank you.